Hi guys and welcome to Horologique. After almost 2 weeks with the brand new Zelos Aurora, I am ready to give you my deeper impressions about it. When I just got the watch, I made an unboxing video and that was pretty quick, and ever since I have gotten the grasp of this watch, what it represents, I have seen its very good points, I have seen quite a few flaws as well, but we are here to talk about it in great detail. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to share the video, to comment right down below, and to do all those things that the algorithm loves. And now let's talk about the Aurora in detail. First of all, let's state the obvious. This watch packs a lot of punch for the price. Initially, it was supposed to be released at $399. It has gone up to $429 at release, and that is going to be true until the 31st of October, and from then on the full MSRP is going to be $529, but I really doubt that there's going to be any left. Very important, the launch date is on the 3rd of October at 11 p.m. Singapore time, so that is GMT +8, so be aware of that, because these watches, as you may know if you know Zelos, they go right away in a few hours, if not minutes, for the more desirable ones. Let me just sum up the specs on this watch, the amazing specs on this watch. You've got a full grade 2 titanium construction with an anti-scratch surface that makes it about 5 times more scratch resistant than usual titanium or stainless steel. You've got a fully anti-magnetic case to bring it to about double what is needed for a watch to be called anti-magnetic. You've got 200 meters of water resistance in here. You've got a on-the-fly clasp adjustment, much improved from the previous things that Zelos used to do in the past. And you've got a Miura 9039 movement in here. Really impressive that they can pack all that for only $429. Let's talk about dimensions, and there's going to be 2 sets of dimensions here. There's going to be a version with 49 millimeters in diameter, and there's going to be another one, the one that I have, at around 38. I'm going to be talking to you about this one. So for this one, and these are my measures, the diameter is 38.5. The height is 11.9. You might expect it to be a bit thinner with that Miura movement, but remember that you've got 200 meters of water resistance and that soft inner case that makes it anti-magnetic. You've got a 46 millimeter in log to log, and you've got a 20 millimeter in log width. The bracelet tapers from 20 to 18 millimeters, and you've got a 21 millimeters at the clasp. That very nice grippy and big crown has a diameter of 6.8 millimeters, and I measured how much leeway you get from the on-the-fly adjustment. You get right around 9 millimeters, so almost 1 centimeter, which is great. Just so you know, the watch wears pretty big. You can see it here on my 7-inch wrist, and you can see that it wears very well. I believe that that construction, those very non-tapering lugs, make it that it will go perfectly on even at a 7.5-inch wrist. I cannot say for the 42mm version. Let's talk a bit about why they named this watch the Aurora. Well, the name is inspired by 2 things. First of all, the Aurora expeditions to the Antarctica from 1911 to 1914. Yes, I've done my research. And of course, because of the Aurora Borealis that is pretty much represented on all of the dials of this watch. And if you flip the watch, you can see the boat that was used for the Aurora expedition. And that is why also this watch has been made anti-magnetic. You need an anti-magnetic watch when you go near the poles. Let's talk about the versions here. You've got 9 different versions of this watch in 2 different sizes. In the 38mm size, you've got the Granite, the Nebula, the Ice Blue, a very interesting teal with a surface that is full of relief. You've got the Aventurine, which is the one I have here, on the 42mm diameter. You've got the granite as well. You've got a very nice supernova in orange. You have the teal, which with the granite is the only one to be had on both sizes. And you've got the mosaic, which is, according to me, really maybe the most interesting dial of all. Too bad you only have it on the 42. Let's talk about the overall style of these watches. As Elshan, as Zelos brand has said it itself, it is a classic brutish style, and you can see that from the very non-tapering lugs, from the hands, from the lowered rehaut compared to the dial, from the shape of the frilling bracelet, from the steep angles of the case. This watch is very characteristically a Zelos watch in design. The construction is fully brushed. The only polished element of the whole watch is the boat on the backside. As we are used from Zelos, the loom is spectacular. The movement here, the 90-39, works amazingly. I don't know if they regulate it, I am sure they do, because mine, as you can see here, is spot on. Many people don't like the wobbleness of these watches, but maybe because of the fact that you have two encasings in this watch, you almost don't feel it and you almost don't hear it. So that is one great point. Talking about great points, let's talk about the positives and the negatives. The positives, well, I'm not going to go again through the amazing specs of this watch, and I'm not going to go again through the amazing value as well. But the value of this watch puts other watches to shame. Actually, even higher-end AliExpress watches cannot compete at all. I really don't know how Zelos did it. Of course, the price will be held during a short span, but even so, it is quite amazing. Another positive point is the much improved on-the-fly adjustment. It was a lever on the previous versions, now it is a push button, much like what Omega does. And I think the greatest positive of this watch is that it is a true GARO watch, with lightness from the titanium, with the protection of the scratch-resistant surface, with the sapphire crystal, with the on-the-fly adjustment. This is a true GARO watch. But then that strength might be its first weakness, and then we go to the negatives, because as I told you before, this watch is very characteristic, it is very brutish in its style, and I would expect a GARO watch to be a bit more conventional. Zelos, even though they have, most of their watches are very characteristic, they have done much more conventional watches. So I am certain that these watches will fly off the shelves and even command premiums afterwards. I believe that the style could have been a bit more conventional. I mean, you only have to look at the rehaut, which is lower compared to the dial, to see that there are some very unconventional things going on there. A positive that might be a negative as well. Don't you have a bit too many options? You've got 38, 42, so once you get too many options, you start really not knowing where to turn and maybe thinking that you're losing out on something. And then why not give some of the options on both sizes? I would have loved to see that mother of pearl on a 38. That would have been wonderful, or that sunburst. So the versions that I liked the most were available only on 42, which I knew would be too big for my wrist. And one final complaint, I did manage to scratch mine. So yeah, I don't baby my watches, but yeah, even though you've got 1200 Vickers, do know that you can scratch that. To sum it up, my time with this watch has been a very positive one. Once it is that kind of watch that once you put it on wrist, it is hard to take it off. It really suits the wrist. That loom is absolutely amazing. That movement is as accurate as it gets. And that on-the-fly adjustment really does help with its comfort. The aesthetic part is something that you know that you like or not from the beginning. I am sure that this, as I said before, this will fly off the shelves. Zelos has a lot of backers. But yeah, an amazing watch. I would have preferred that they called it a GARO watch instead of a field watch. But really an amazing watch that, as I said, puts other brands to shame because of what it has to offer. Again, thank you very much to the company for having sent this watch for free. I don't have to return it, hence the includes promotion tag at the beginning of the video. Thank you so much for having watched the video, and I'll be seeing you very soon. Goodbye.